I'm Carolyn Robb, the Royal Chef, former chef to Prince Charles, Princess Diana, Prince William and Prince Harry. I'm going to make a Victorian sandwich. This is the perfect cake for the festive season and in particular to be served to the Queen at her annual ball or afternoon tea or any Christmas celebration. Victorian Sandwich is a very regal cake and its origins date back to Queen Victoria's reign, when the Duchess of Bedford, who was one of her ladies-in-waiting, decided that she really needed a little snack to keep her going between lunch and dinner. So mid-afternoon, she needed something small to sustain her. And that's how afternoon tea originated. This cake is something that Queen Victoria enjoyed, and it's certainly served Her Majesty the Queen even today. I'm going to start by creaming together the butter and the sugar. After that, I'm going to add in some eggs and the flavourings. Today I'm using vanilla, orange zest, cinnamon and stem ginger. And then finally fold in some flour and baking powder. First thing we're going to do is put the butter and the sugar into the mixer and cream those together. First time I met the Queen was at Windsor Castle, and on Christmas morning all members of staff were invited together and Her Majesty presented a small Christmas gift to each of us. And I was always so amazed that she would take a couple of hours out of her Christmas day to do that. The gift I was given was a lovely tablet of Woods of Windsor lavender soap, which I treasured for many years before I actually opened it and used it. Next thing I'm going to do is add the eggs into the cake batter, but I'm not going to crack them directly into here just in case I get any shell. So I'm going to first crack them into a bowl and then tip them into the mixer. There were some incredible perks to being a royal chef. Once you've worked there for 2 years, you would be invited to the Christmas ball, and after that, every other year you could go. And the ball was either at Buckingham Palace or at Windsor Castle. This is my official invitation to the ball one year when it was held at Windsor Castle. It says, "The Master of the Household has received Her Majesty's command to invite Miss Carolyn Robb to a dance to be given at Windsor Castle by the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh on Monday the 13th of December 1999 at 8:30 p.m. In order to make this Victorian sandwich more festive, I've got some wonderful flavours of Christmas that I'm going to add in. So I've got some orange and I'm going to add orange zest, vanilla, ground cinnamon, and lastly I've got some stem ginger which I'm going to grate into the cake mixture. Ginger root is quite fibrous even when it's been preserved in sugar syrup, which is why I'm using a really fine grater to grate it to make sure that none of that goes into the cake. Now that I've grated my orange zest and ginger, I'm going to put them into the cake batter and then lastly add cinnamon and vanilla bean paste. Now that we have the flavourings mixed in, I'm going to lastly add the flour and baking powder. Over the years I was really lucky. I think I went to 4 Christmas balls, 3 of them at Buckingham Palace and 1 at Windsor Castle. And I took many members of the family with me. On one occasion my mother came, another occasion my father, and my sister came as well. It was a rare opportunity for me to take off my chef's jacket and put on a really smart ball gown. When we were at Windsor Castle, my mother was with me and she actually met the Queen. The format is that everybody arrives for the ball at about 6 o'clock and there are a couple of hours to wander through some of the staterooms in either Windsor Castle or Buckingham Palace, and then a really lovely buffet dinner is served, and at about 9 p.m. the royal party joins everybody. Generally that was the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Charles and other members of the family too. On the particular occasion when I was there with my mother, we were right next to the door when the Queen walked into the room, and the first person she stopped and talked to was my mother, which was absolutely amazing. And they had a wonderful conversation about having parties in their homes, something that my mother always remembered and referred to many times, every time she had a party in fact. I have 2 cake tins here. I've lined them with baking paper and I've buttered around the edges. Now we're going to put the batter in. I'm going to divide the batter between 2 cake pans, and when I spread it out I make sure that I make a little hollow in the centre so that when it comes out of the oven it's even and flat on the top rather than being domed. I'm going to put these into my preheated oven now. I've set it at 160 degrees centigrade and I'm going to cook it for about 12 to 15 minutes. We've taken these out of the oven, they're now cooked and they're looking good. We're going to leave them to cool for a minute. I really love this cake because it's such a wonderful alternative to traditional British Christmas cake, which is a really rich, heavy fruit cake with lots of dried fruit in it. But this is a much lighter alternative, and with all the other heavy food that's consumed around Christmas time, I think this is the perfect Christmas cake. These have cooled for a few minutes and I'm now going to remove them from the tin and then leave them on a cooling rack to cool completely while I prepare the filling. Now I'm going to get a large bowl and I've got some mascarpone, which I'm going to mix with a little double cream for the filling. This looks good now. Now I'm going to fill and decorate the cake, starting with a layer of blackberry jam, and then I'm going to top it with some of my cream and mascarpone mix. The second half of the cake goes on top and then I'm going to decorate the top. Now I'm going to decorate the top. I've got some wonderful festive berries, I've got pomegranate seeds, fresh cherries, blackberries, so I'm going to put some of those on, and then of course I have to include some fresh herbs. Having cooked for Prince Charles for 11 years, it's not possible to do anything without adding some wonderful fresh herbs. Prince Charles was always incredibly gracious and grateful for anything that was done for him and used to write the most incredible thank you notes. I have a little collection of them, which I keep very carefully, but this one that I have in my hand is definitely the one that I treasure the most. He had an accident playing polo and broke his right arm. Consequently, wasn't able to write using his right hand, but he took the time and trouble to write a note to me using his left hand. And this is why this is so special to me. I love the flavours in this cake. It's got so many wonderful festive flavours. It's got the cinnamon, the ginger, which makes it really moist. As well as that, it's got the lovely orange zest and vanilla. So it really is the perfect Christmas cake, and it's a lot lighter than our traditional English Christmas fruit cake. Other cakes that are traditionally served during the Christmas period here are a chocolate log, which is a chocolate roulade made to look like a chocolate log. Ginger cake is also very popular. And my new book, which will be out this coming Christmas, Christmas at the Palace, has a really great selection of wonderful recipes. Many more desserts like this can be found at delish.com, and I hope you're going to try them at home.